Money. Money.
To today, for all of my student listeners out there with student loans, I thought it might be helpful to talk about how student loans may apply when applying for a mortgage. Student loan balances recently broke the 1 trillion mark and now exceeded the balances of credit cards in America. Many student loans don't think about the ripple effect student loans may have on the ability to obtain other financing, such as a mortgage. And since that's my arena, I thought I'd bring that into studio for Money Chat today. The impact can be devastating if you don't know how it works. So I wanted to go through a few tips here. First, deferred student loans. If your loans are in deferment, you would think that you would not have to calculate a payment against you for debt to income ratio for purchasing a mortgage, but that would not be accurate. You actually do. Depending on the loan type that you're going with, normally they're looking at 1% of the balance is going to be what your monthly payment is. So if you owe $50,000, that would be $500 a month. That would go against you towards your mortgage, and it's dollar for dollar. So $500 in debt is $500 less that you can approve in a mortgage payment. Now, deferral period. One of the most common causes for credit issues is the case of a first-time home buyer and student loans going from deferment to late status. This is something that happens over the span of a month. Once the student realizes the oversight, they'll send in a payment or the paperwork for redeferment of the loan, but the damage has already been done. The account was in default under the letter or payment was received. As I mentioned, with most student loans, we'll have a multiple loans, and the impact could be devastating when it comes to credit, and which is going to affect your mortgage approval. You want to make sure that you can keep close track on when your student loans are scheduled to come out of deferment. Now, going into duplicate student loans, many students will apply for and receive what they believe to be a single student loan. However, in some cases, that single payment could be servicing multiple smaller loans and reporting in multiple loans. This may help a student build credit faster because it can be beneficial to having multiple open lines of credit, but the reverse is also true. If the loan's ever going to default, the credit report will show more than one derogatory account, each one being derogatory. Good or bad, if the student loan reports as multiples, there will be a multiple effect on the credit report. Now, term options for student loans. With most student loans, you may have multiple payment options, 10, 20, 30-year terms. In many cases, when your credit report is pulled, the payments are listed for a higher than an actual amount. The student loan company will report on the credit report the lowest term reflecting the highest payment. So make sure that you ask the amount to be calculated for the approval. And if it's higher, you can request the repayment terms for the student loan for the lender. Now, if it's not based on full principal and interest and it's interest only, it's going to go back to that 1% of the balance and how they're going to calculate that. So something to be aware of. If you don't have multiple payments and it's a shorter term, consider refinancing. If you would like to get approved for a higher mortgage amount, $50,000 at a rate at 5% over 10 years would be $530. And if it was 30 years, that would drop it down to $268. And that $268 in approval amount could make a difference of $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month in purchase power, depending on what the interest rate is for your mortgage. Student loans and collections. On many occasions, I've seen federal-backed student loans from the U.S. Department of Education, or Sallie Mae, remove all late payments on a student loan credit report if brought back to current. There's no law that supports this, but I've seen it happen many times. This most likely will never work for credit card lates, but I've seen it again many times happen on student loans. Maybe the student loan companies have a more forgiving policy. I don't know. But if you do request for those results and you're not getting the results that you want, go ahead and ask for a supervisor. And of course, you want to make sure that you get it in writing so that you can pass that on to the credit bureaus and have those late payments removed from your credit report. If in collections, negotiate to have all delinquent activities removed before paying them off. You want to be careful, though, in removing collections if they're more than 2 years old. I'm not breaking down the credits, how credit works, but there is one bracket of that age or pie chart of that, which is age of credit, and it represents 50% of your actual credit score. So anything that you're paying off that's more than 2 years that's established, even if it's collections, you lose that history for that account. So if you're short on credit trade lines, this actually can be devastating for your credit score. So it's always really important to consult with a mortgage consultant and see what to do previous to doing anything so you don't make mistakes that you can't reverse. Know your grace period. Different loans have different grace periods from competing schools. Federal student loans are usually 3 to 6 months. If private, it could be a shorter time frame. So you don't want to miss the period and risk having any late payments. And then last, I like to go over a consolidation option. Consider consolidating your student loans to a lower overall monthly payment. Every dollar saved in a student loan, again, is a dollar for dollar more that you can approve for in a mortgage. So depending on the mortgage loan program, you can go with maybe every $10,000 in purchase price is going to make a difference of $50 to $70 a month in your total payment. So it can make a substantial difference in your buying power and help you get into the home in the area that you might want to live in. You may not want to consolidate federal loans into private student loans because you will lose all the repayment options and borrower benefits such as unemployment deferment and loan forgiveness programs that come with the federal loan. So again, just a little bit for Money Chat on student loans, and just to consider what your options are and make sure that you're looking at those to make the best financial decision for you, especially when trying to come up with apply for a mortgage for a new home loan. And coming up next on the Money Hour, monetizing your home, Denny Connor, president of Connor Remodeling and Designs, right here in 1150 AM KK and W after this short break.